Good morning. Welcome to our service for Sunday, July 26th, 2026. We're delighted you have joined us today at Unity of Wimberley. Every soul is welcome here. To our beloved online community, we would love to connect with you, so please reach out in person or online. Your presence is a gift to our community. Today we welcome back Shane Elmore. His talk is entitled Inside Out, Transforming Insecurity into Freedom. Shane's talks are always insightful, provocative, and transformative, so we're looking forward to today's lesson. And now let's join Julie Reagans, Curtis Bringle, Bruce Wayne, and Carl Lociavo as we sing our welcome song.
Good morning. Join me as we affirm our statement of faith. There is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent. And now, let us unite our spirits as we hold this vision for our church. Together, we are an open-hearted spiritual community, powerfully transforming our world by honoring the sacred in all. And we practice this mission together. Inspired by our shared spiritual awakening, we offer practical teachings that empower healthy, abundant, and meaningful living. And as we go through the ministerial search process, we will be upholding this affirmation. Together, Divine Mind, we acknowledge your presence as the one power and one intelligence active in our community. We know that the perfect spiritual leader for our ministry is already chosen in spirit. We affirm that this leader is a person of high consciousness, deep wisdom, and radiant love, perfectly aligned with our vision and mission. And so it is. And today's daily word reading is forgive. And the affirmation is, I find peace and freedom as I forgive. Forgiveness is not always easy. I may resist letting go of the hurt or distress caused by someone's words or actions. Even so, I know that forgiveness makes space for peace to flow in and through me. I release what has been, realizing the past cannot be changed. As I do my inner work to forgive, I also forgive myself for hanging on to past hurts. With each step I take in the direction of forgiveness, I open to love. Love flows to me as healing energy and compassion. As I forgive, I heal. Letting go, my heart feels lighter, and I feel ready to move forward. My spiritual nature of divine love and peace cannot be harmed by words or actions. I forgive and feel light and free. And from Colossians 3:13, if anyone has a complaint against another, forgive each other, just as the Lord has forgiven you, so you also must forgive. And now, with our centering prayer, is Molly Steele.
Let's pray. Dear God, knowing that yesterday is gone, tomorrow hasn't happened yet, that all we have is this moment. So, just for today, I will smile. I will practice kindness. No matter how stressed and rushed I am, I will say hello and smile at the cashier at the grocery store. I will send love to my neighbor. I will love that neighbor as myself and forgive that neighbor because in my stinking thinking, I think he's harassing me. I think he's not kind to me. I will take that seeing out of my eyes. I will take that log out and I will send love to that neighbor. I will call that family member that I've been ignoring, not wanting to get into their stuff, and I will give my presence, my listening. I will be grateful for the kids who run down the street and honk their horns on their bicycles, and I feel like I'm going crazy, but I will love them and remember that they are just kids. I can do this for a day. Tomorrow is another day, and so now I will concentrate on today. I will forgive, which leads me to love, which leads me to freedom and to peace. Thank you, God. Amen.
When I move my body just like this, don't know why I feel like freedom. I hear a song that makes it take me back, and I let go with so much freedom. Freedom, I'm gonna get
tell you what, let's clap again. Awesome job. Thank you. I was just sitting there listening, trying to think of a way to describe our music here, and the best word I could come up with was groovy. Isn't that groovy? Thank you. Thank you. And I tell you, at this time, give a round of applause for the volunteers, our staff, and everyone that makes all this work and makes this happen. There's so many things that go into making this magic happen of this community, and so I know I'm grateful for each and every one of you, so thank you for being here this morning. I'm excited once again to be able to stand up here and teach, and when Aida had reached out to me and asked me if I was able to teach today, I said, well, I have a topic that I want to talk about, but I don't have a title for it. And she said, well, we need a title. We've got it. And I said, well, but I'm talking about insecurities. And if someone reads the newsletter, insecurities, sometimes that's the last thing we want to go to church and talk about is our insecurities. Am I the only one that kind of goes, eh? And she's, well, I would love to talk about this. Okay, well, we'll give it a topic. We're going to talk about our insecurities today, inside out type of living, and how we can take these insecurities and we can use them and turn them into freedom. Now, you've heard me talk before. I've talked about it several times whenever I went to Costa Rica and went to a healing center. And it's funny, when I went for the first time 4 years ago, I was only going because I had a couple of friends who were going, and they invited me to go. And I was kind of like the big brother going along because it was the first time they've left the country, first time they've gone to a place like this. So I'd done a lot of healing work at this point. I'd done a lot of emotional work, a lot of spiritual work. I've been part of men's communities. And arrogantly, I thought to myself, foolishly, I'm healed. If anybody ever been there, like you do all this work and you come so far, you're like, I'm healed. And I am healed in the biggest sense, but that doesn't mean that there's not more for me to work on. This is like peeling a layer of an onion, and just when you peel off this layer, you're like, oh, there's more. And so you peel off another layer, and there's more. And so there's just always this work that we're working on, and we're learning about ourselves. And so when I went, I was in a meditation, and no one had ever asked me this question, okay? But if anybody had ever asked me this question, are you insecure? Do you have insecurities? I'm convinced I would have said, no, I don't have any insecurities. I've done work around that. I don't have any insecurities. And in this meditation that we did, Spirit literally dumped out on me every insecurity I had ever had since I was a kid. And let me tell you, it was overwhelming. Now, I'm out of the country with a couple of friends, with a whole new people at a healing center. And let me tell you, they came alive in me for the entire time. That was the work that came up for me. And I'm going to share with you some of those insecurities that I had to work on. But it's important that we learn how to identify the insecurities we have in our life, but then also how we move through those insecurities. What are they pointing us to? How do we do that work? But I had so many insecurities. One of them, whenever I was a kid, we were super poor. We were super poor. And all the way through elementary school, I had a lot of insecurities. Sometimes I don't want to stand up here and teach because I don't have a clue what to wear. Isn't that simple? You can laugh too. You can laugh at me. It's okay. But I don't have a clue what to wear. When I was a kid, we were super poor. I have insecurities about clothing because I remember I'd go to school and hand-me-down sweatpants. That's what I wore every day to school. Kids would laugh at me and they'd make fun of me because I'm always wearing the same clothes. What they didn't know is because I took karate and I was a fighting kid when I was young, and so wearing sweatpants allowed me to kick somebody. So, that was one way. I mean, I would just boom. And anyway, luckily I got over that for the most part. I don't kick people anymore. Yeah, but I remember sitting in class with dirty shoes. And I remember sitting in the seat with dirty shoes, and I could smell my own shoes. Kids would make fun of me. All the way through 5th grade, you know what my nickname was? Fatso. They called me Fatso. So they'd jump on my back, come on, Fatso, give me a ride. And that was just, I kind of got to where I joked about it. I took on the name, but I was a chubby kid, and that was the thing. So I've always had like some insecurities around my weight. Anybody else have something happen to them in school where things have happened? But this is how insecurities are formed, right? Many times they're formed when we're really, really young. And we begin to believe certain things about that. We begin to tell ourselves certain stories that are lies. They're not true. They're false beliefs. Another, big insecurity that I have is my dad, he was able to do anything. You know those men and women that can just do anything? My dad could go and he could wire a house. He could go and he could plumb a house. Something went wrong with his truck. He knew how to work on his truck. And I remember as a kid, every once in a while, I'd go with my dad when he was wiring a house, and he's got the big drill, and he's drilling the holes in the studs so you can run the wire. And my dad, one time, when he was running the drill, he torqued the drill, and he had to have surgery on his elbow. And my dad, anytime I wanted to use the power tool, my dad would say, "Don't do that, you're going to hurt yourself." Anybody ever told that when you're young? Don't do that, you're going to hurt yourself. Now, my dad meant the best for me. I was a baseball player, so he was just looking out for my safety. He wanted me to be able to throw the ball. He didn't want me to injure myself. But it's crazy. Like, I've worked as a nurse. I've worked as a farmer. It's like I am comfortable putting in a Foley catheter or a nasogastric tube, starting an IV. I've been trained to put a laryngoscope in your mouth and put an endotracheal tube into your lungs. I'm able to cut a hole in your neck and put a tube in there. But you put a power tool in my hand, and I just melt. I turn into a little boy. Anybody else have stuff like that? It just happens. Another thing, I was real active in ag. I was real active in my ag class and FFA. I tell people all the time, I love my ag teacher so much, I married his daughter, right? So I married my high school ag teacher's daughter. And one of the things I was so excited about was shop class. Shop class was going to be that opportunity for me to learn some of these skills. And it happened in the first week of ag class. The first week we do like lessons in the classroom, but then you get to go back to the shop. And our first project was building a picnic table. So I'm so excited about doing this. And when in FFA, I was involved in leadership contests. I did a lot of speaking. I was an officer. I was really involved in that aspect of FFA and ag. And I'll never forget, it was the first day in the shop, and I'm so excited. And they give us the blueprint for these picnic tables, and so you had to go make cuts. So I went back, and I made all the cuts for the table, and it wasn't until then I realized I don't know how to use a tape measure. And my ag teacher, he said, "Boy, don't you know how to use a tape measure?" And then he said to me, "I tell you what, why don't you go to the classroom and work on speeches?" I never went back into the shop class after that. Now, you can reframe these things, right? That's part of working through insecurities, is reframing them. What he did was provided for me an amazing opportunity to get to go work, on speaking and leadership and things like that. But it just formed in me. So if I go to work with Phil, don't hand me the tape measure. I'm learning. I'm getting better at it. But that's just a few examples of my insecurities that I have. Another thing, when the most tumultuous times in my family, when the divorce and everything was happening, and it was just a tumultuous time, there was a music class. I never learned how to read music. Let me tell you, these insecurities, it's funny that I thought I didn't have any, but they're everywhere. I didn't learn how to read music. And so I missed a lot of that. That's also during the time when you're learning fractions that you're going to use on a tape measure. So it's just one of these things that I've had to work on and learn, but I didn't learn music. And I remember when I got into junior high, everybody was so excited because we got to go to band. And I just remember going to band, I was in there one day. There's just a trend, right? When something gets hard, you quit and you go do something else. I was in there one day and I said, I am not doing this because I couldn't read music. I didn't know how to play an instrument. So I went to fine arts. That's where I went. So another thing that's really challenging for me, especially since my surgery, the person I am now, I'm a completely different person. When something like that happens and they do CPR on you, there's certain parts of my brain that they just don't work the way that they usually used to work. I was the guy that when I walk into a room, I would meet every one of you. I would shake your hand. I would get to know your name. I was just that person. Now, since my surgery, I have an insecurity about not knowing everybody's names if I don't interact with them several times. And so what happens is I have developed in a bit of social shyness. That's not who I was. But I truly believe that when things like that happen to us, they happen for a reason. They're not happening to me. It's happening for me. And it's led me to where I am today. So yeah, I could sit here and just talk about my insecurities all morning long. But really, do you remember whenever we talked about, holy smokes, what was I just going to say? Well, never mind. Oh, remember when we talked about shadow? When we were talking about shadow and what our shadow is, these insecurities, this is really important. So the shadow is the part of ourselves that we hide, deny, and repress. Remember that? These are the things, especially if you say something like, I'm never going to be that way. When you say, I'm never going to be that way, you're sticking something in the shadow. It's a blind spot. And because it's a blind spot, you can't see it, right? So that's part of being in community. That's part of being in a community where you can be open and honest and give people permission to speak into your life and to show you your shadows. But one of the things that's important to understand about insecurities is insecurity is really the best gift that Spirit can give you, because our insecurities is a way, it's a breadcrumb trail that leads us to where the work needs to be done. Right? So whenever you can get in community and you can be open and honest, the first way to overcome insecurity is, one, acknowledge that you have it. Acknowledging that you have it, there's nothing wrong in being honest with yourself about any social awkwardness that you have, any discomfort you have. Journal, write it down, own it, and then realize it's going to lead you to a place where there is work that is to be done. Underneath every insecurity that we have is a false belief. It's a false belief about who we are. So I encourage you, get in community and then find a safe community, a safe place. And this is a super safe place where you don't have to stand up here on stage and tell everybody your insecurities. That's not what you have to do. But it is about finding a community where you can acknowledge these things and say them out loud. And this is a safe place where we can do that. We can follow that breadcrumb trail and do the work around those insecurities. It is truly a gift that whenever we go back to that place and we can find out what that self-limiting belief is, what that inaccurate belief is about who we are, we can go in then and we can begin to untangle that, and we can begin to reframe it, and we can lean into truth about the identity of who we truly are. Now, when we have insecurities, it does a number of things for us that we don't want, right? If we're not going to deal with those insecurities, one thing it does is it steals intimacy. Intimacy. It steals intimacy. And so what happens is if we're not dealing with these insecurities, if we're not looking at them, we're not doing that work and going back and finding that shadow part of ourselves, what happens is it just steals intimacy. It steals the idea of knowing who you are, right? And letting other people know who you are. I've come to a point in my life, and I may have said this up here before, but I would rather be rejected for who I am than to be accepted for who I'm not. I would rather be rejected for who I am than to be accepted for who I'm not. Because another thing that these insecurities do is they cause us to put on a mask. And sometimes you have to wear a mask in society. Sometimes we play different roles and we put on a mask. And the problem is not the fact that you put on a mask. The problem is the fact that you believe that you have to put on that mask in order to be accepted. And so really the work around insecurity is finding out the truth about who you really are. And we'll go back to that here toward the end. Another thing that the insecurities cause in us is it causes us to want to compete with people. You know what I'm saying? It's coming from a place where you feel inadequate. So it doesn't matter if you're sitting there telling a story or someone's telling a story. You ever seen that person that just has to one-up everybody? They tell a story and then you tell a bigger story and then they tell a bigger story and then they tell a bigger story. And it's just that's just insecurity. That's just insecurity. When we create this comparison because of our insecurities, we feel like somehow if someone else is shining, it somehow diminishes our light. And so if you find yourself in that situation, if you find yourself where when someone gets up and succeeds, you're not able to truly be happy for them, that's an insecurity. That's stealing that joy from you to where you can actually celebrate when other people succeed, when other people do well. So if you find a place where you're struggling with that, that's definitely an insecurity. That's one of the ways that you can find it. And the last thing is it keeps us stuck in shame. It keeps us stuck in shame. So one of my favorite stories in the Bible comes from Matthew 16. It comes in Matthew 16 when Jesus, he sits down and he's talking to his disciples, and he asked the question. He said, "Who do the people say that I am? Who do the people say that I am?" That's an interesting question, isn't it? I don't think Jesus was asking that question because he was seeking outside validation. Do you? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think if there's ever a person on the planet who knew who they were, it was Jesus, right? And that is a beautiful example, and that's what Jesus was doing. He was really asking them, who do the people say that I am? Who do you say that I am? Jesus knows who he is, but the job of a teacher, the job of a minister, the job of a shaman is not to create dependency on the teacher, but the job is to help you remember who you are. The job is to help you remember who you are and to lead you to that truth about your identity. And they gave some interesting answers. Some say you're a prophet. Some say that you're, Elijah that came back. All these answers. This is where Peter said, "You're the Christ, the Son of the living God." Just a very powerful story about a person who knew who they are. And I do believe with everything in me that Jesus was not coming here to start a religion. Jesus was not coming here to be worshiped. Jesus came here to remind us. He says, "I am the vine, you are the branches." Like the vine and the branches, they're all the same thing. He was coming back to tell us who we are in our identity. Now, another gospel that I love that's not in the Bible, but it's the Gospel of Thomas. Anybody read the Gospel of Thomas? It was discovered in 1945, and some scholars say that the Gospel of Thomas is probably one of the most accurate gospels that we have. It's just not in the Bible, and it's nothing but sayings of Jesus. Now, I want to tell the story about what happened, and then I'm going to speculate about, I've meditated on this verse. It comes from saying 13 in the book of Thomas. And then it's a different telling of that story. It's told in a little bit of a different way as Jesus was talking to his disciples. And whenever he was talking to his disciples, he said, compare me to something and tell me what I am like. Compare me to something and tell me what I'm like. He's speaking to his disciples. Simon Peter said, "You are like a righteous angel." And then Matthew said to him, "You're like a wise philosopher." And then Thomas said, "Teacher, my mouth is utterly unable to say what you are like." And then it says that he took Thomas aside. He took Thomas aside away from the other disciples, and he had a conversation with him. Now, I don't know. It never comes back. When Thomas comes back, the disciples are all like, what did he say to you? You got a private one-on-one teaching lesson with Jesus. Like, what did he say to you? And we don't know the contents of what he said. We don't know the contents of what he said. It never tells us. But what Thomas says next to the disciples, he says, "Listen, I can't tell you what he told me." Whatever he shared was so profound. He said, and again, I'm speculating here. This has been through this is my belief. I encourage you to read the book, the Gospel of Thomas, develop your own belief. But I sit here because what Thomas said, he goes, if I told you what he told me, you would stone me. And the stones would turn to fire, and we'd be consumed. So I've meditated on this. I've thought about this. What in the world could Jesus have said that if Thomas repeated it would get him stoned? I think what Jesus told Thomas was the exact same thing that got Jesus crucified. I think he told Thomas who he is. Now, do you remember when we talked about the law of resonance? I ordered some tuning forks that didn't come in. Y'all remember that? So the idea of resonance, as you're doing your work, is anytime there's a frequency or a vibration, right, you have resonance when you're on the same frequency, right? So the way this works, if you're judging someone, you spot it, you got it, right? So when you're judging someone, that frequency is in you, and you're resonating with that frequency in them. So if you judge them, you're actually judging yourself, right? When you see the gold and the good in someone, and you recognize that, that's the law of resonance. So I want to demonstrate this once again, the way that this works. I have 2 tuning forks here. They are tuned to different frequencies, right? So if I take this one right here, this is the root chakra, and you're vibrating it, and I bring it close to this one, nothing happens. This one's not vibrating. I have to strike this one in order for it to vibrate, right? Because they're tuned to a different frequency. Now, these are tuned to the exact same frequency. So if I strike this one, and I move it up to this one, you can't feel it. You can come up and play with it later. I didn't strike this one, and it's vibrating. It's vibrating because it's tuned to the same frequency. You say, Shane, what's the point? What does this have to do with insecurities? Have you ever noticed Hollywood and movies and books, the classics? Many times they're telling the same story over and over and over. And I don't know about you, but when I watch movies and I see that character, there's always a character. How many of you remember The Lion King? The Lion King, one of the most famous lines from it, remember who you are. Remember who you are. Remember I told you the job of a shaman is to help you remember, to point you to who you are. That was the job of Rafiki. It doesn't matter, it's in the past. And his job was to help Mufasa learn Simba. Learn who he is. Remind him of his true identity. There's a reason when you watch The Matrix and we resonate so deeply with this person that has been this person all along, but they were not aware of who they are. And then they come into it, and Neo was the chosen one. Luke Skywalker. Why in the world do we tell the stories over and over and over and over that's about a hidden identity? It is the hero's journey. You're going through trials, you're going through struggles, you're overcoming these things, but it's all about getting to a point in life when you remember who you are. And I had an interesting meditation the other day. I was literally ushered in to what was like a hall of witnesses, a hall of elders and witnesses, and I heard a voice say, what have you learned on your journey? And I said, I remember who I am. And they said, we'd love to hear. Who are you? And I said, I am God. The divine spirit lives within me, and it lives within each and every one of you. We are creators. We are co-creators. And the very life source, the very I am, is inside of us. It is inside of us. It's not just in some of us. It's not just in me. It is in each and every human being on the planet. So I say to you, remember who you are. That is the key. That is the key. Once we remember properly who we are, this creates freedom in our life. It creates an incredible freedom in our life where we are able to live life to its fullest. And I believe we're just going to keep coming back here until we finally remember who we are. So I encourage you, do the work around your insecurities. Follow them back and find out what that self-limiting belief is. Remember those indicators that we talked about that helps you identify that you even have them, because acknowledging it is huge. Sharing it is huge. When I made the transition, guys, you have to understand, I lived on a farm. The only clothes I'd ever wore, I helped start a tech company, and the only clothes I'd ever wore before the tech company, I wore overalls on the farm, and I was a nurse, so I wore scrubs. My entire adult life, that's about all I wore. You know, and I remember when I worked with this tech company, I asked my boss, I was like, what kind of clothes do I have to wear? And he's like, I don't know, something cool, hip, and trendy. And I'm like, do you see me right now? And that's what I learned. Don't ever go ask your straight male friends about if what you're wearing looks good. They're just going to lie to you. I went to the Banana Republic, And there was this gay guy at the counter, and I asked him, I was like, listen, I need to find something cool, hip, and trendy. And he's like, you don't have it right now. So he was honest with me. Right, but whenever I left the farm and I moved from a farm where I had neighbors, you just couldn't see them. And I moved from a farm in Mineola, Texas, to an apartment in the Domain in Austin. And listen, part of our identity is we have to learn, and this was a hard lesson for me, we have to learn who we are apart from other people. We have to learn who we are apart from other people. Because when I went to Austin, I live 1 block off of Rock Rose. It'd be 2 o'clock in the morning. It's just boom, boom, boom. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I could hear the people above and below me. I didn't have a clue what was going on. And all of a sudden, I was raised in this small town of Mineola. Everybody knew me. I knew everybody. It makes it real comfortable when you know everybody and you think you know who you are, but it was always in relationship to other people. So here I am. I'm in Austin. I don't have a clue who I am. I'm no longer Shane the farmer. No one knows me as Shane the nurse. No one knows me as Shane the minister. No one knows me as Kelly's husband or Kennedy's dad. No one knew me, and I didn't know myself. You want to know what saved my life? Barton Springs. They would open up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And the cool part about Barton Springs is at 5 o'clock in the morning, they don't charge you to get in and parking is free. So they'd open up that gate, and almost every day of the week, I get emotional just thinking about it. Almost every day of the week, I would go and I would float on my back in that water, and I'm just like, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And I promise you, if you keep seeking that, you keep answering that question, you will remember. And it's important that you spend time alone in discovering that. And now I can go out into this community. I can go out into the life around me. And who I am is not dependent on who I'm around. It's not what I think people want me to be or who I think I should be. I know who I am. And I've gotten to the point where it's like I like to spend time with myself because I remembered who I am. So I encourage that for you. Now, we're going to do something a little bit different this morning for the meditation. And this is an invitation, not an expectation. This is an opportunity for us to do a different type of meditation. This is an opportunity for you to discover if you have any insecurities. Right? So this is an invitation, not an expectation. If you want to just sit there, you can sit there. That's fine. No one's going to shame you. No one's going to make you feel guilty. We're not dogmatic on this. But I do say this, if you don't participate in this, I want you to sit there and go, why? What's going on inside of me? Am I worried about what somebody else will think? Am I worried about how I might look when I do this? That's an invitation to do work. But we have a special song for you. And so what I'm going to invite you to do is get on your feet and dance and make some noise, move around the room, and enjoy this special song, one of my favorite songs. Thank you so much.
I'm not a stranger to the dark, and hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away, they say, no one will love you as you are, but won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us.
Let it go.
For we are glorious. When the sharpest words want to cut me down, gonna send a flood, drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This in me, look out, 'cause here I come. And marching on to the beat I drum. when the sharpest words wanna cut me down. Gonna send a flood, drown 'em out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. Oh, and I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apology. Me, oh, 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 and I know that I deserve love. It's nothing I'm not worthy of. Sharpest words wanna cut me down. Gonna send a flood and drown 'em out. This is brave, this is bruised, this is who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apology. This is me. Oh, 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 this is me.
So the Wimberley Unity Flash Mob has happened. I didn't know that was going to go on, but thank you, Shane. Thank you, Van. That was awesome. So now as we prepare our offerings with love and gratitude, we activate the law of giving and receiving. We complete this sacred circle as we affirm that our spiritual community thrives through faith and the generous contributions of all who call it home. As our ushers step forward, let us infuse our offerings with intention and love. To our cherished online family, if this lesson uplifts your spiritual growth, and hopefully you are dancing at home, please consider including us in your abundance practice. Your donations elevate our shared journey. We thank you for the gifts you have sent already and affirm the gifts you are sending now. For all our giving options, please scan or tap the QR code on the screen or the back of the chair in front of you. And now let us offer this affirmation of abundance together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
It's the hardest thing to give away, the last thing on your mind today. It always goes to those who don't deserve. It's the opposite of how you feel when the pain they cause is just too real. It takes everything you have to say the word forgiveness. Flies in the face of all your pride, pulls away the mad inside. It's always anger's own worst enemy. Even when the jury and the judge say you got a right to hold a grudge, it's the whisper in your ear saying set it free. Forgiveness. 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 its power can do. So let it go and be amazed by what you see through eyes of grace. The prisoner that it really frees is you.
And now let us offer this affirmation of abundance. Together, we bless these gifts and the givers with our love and gratitude. All right. Excuse me, y'all. Sorry. We have a few announcements. Next Sunday, August 2nd, Michael Finn will return with another authentic, meaningful, and uplifting talk. Please plan to attend. And if you don't think that Finn's going to see what happened in that meditation and try to top it, Michael, it's a challenge, brother. Next Sunday is also potluck, so bring a dish and share and join us for food, fun, and fellowship. All are welcome. The YFM program will be holding its first annual Back to School Bash in mid-August, and here to share more details with you is our YFM director, Mimi.
Good morning. So, August 15th, we're going to have a back to school bash for our 1st through 5th graders. And Saturday's the 15th. The teens are going to Dave & Buster's. And teens plus, 6th grade and up, will be going to Dave & Buster's for their back to school bash. 16th is Sunday. And we'll have a little fair and a little food here. And our theme is Grow Bright. And we're hoping all the kiddos show up. There's no attendance previous taken. Like, come and have fun, and let's grow this program. Thanks.
And if y'all don't mind, please give Mimi a hand because she does an amazing job with our kiddos. All right, it's time to clean out your closets for our 4th annual Unity of Wimberley tag sale. We are collecting gently used clothing, shoes, and accessories. Items can be dropped off on Sundays or any other day of the week by contacting Aida at office@unityofwimberley.com. And we're also looking for some volunteers to help with the sale. Please contact Amy at volunteer@unityofwimberley.com to help. And remember that volunteers get first dibs on the goodies. Please visit the Back to School Fiesta display in the front foyer to help provide backpacks, school supplies, haircuts, and other essentials to Wimberley students returning to school in the fall. You can scan the QR code to donate or make checks payable to Barnabas Connection. Thank you for everyone's enthusiastic response to the July theme of Season Liberally for the Crisis Bread Basket donations. Their clients will be delighted. Another thank you from Betty Potts and a reminder about pennies for Pavlova. our little plastic pig in the fireside room that's collecting your change. On August 16th, she will be leaving the building, so please contribute to feed her up until then. The Wednesday book study is starting a new selection. Join us for lively discussions on the new title, Help, Thanks, Wow, by Anne Lamont. For all other announcements and upcoming events, please see the rotating video after the service in the sanctuary, the fireside room, and the library TVs. And as always, you can visit the events page of the website. If you are visiting with us today, please consider filling out a blue information card located on the front foyer table, or access a visitor card online through the tap tags on the chairs so that we can connect with you. As a reminder, Molly Steele will be available to pray with you after the service up here on the stage if you would like or need. And now let's send a blessing out to our children in their classrooms together. Youth of Unity, we love you, we bless you, and we appreciate you just the way you are. And now please join us as we pray our prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.